You don't technically need this car. You say that out loud to yourself. You say, I have no space. You say, I'm just looking. Then you click. Then you zoom in on photo number 87 and whisper, oh no. Then you text a friend, the one who always enables you. You say to yourself, this is the last one, knowing it is not. You don't need this car. But maybe, just maybe, this car needs you. Bring a trailer. It's never just a car.
But you know, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times. If one only remembers to turn on the light.
It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to your friends.
The ones that love us never really leave us.
Working hard is important, but there's something that matters, believing in yourself. If they can do it, why not us?
Hey everyone, welcome to Hogwarts, a podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Hogwarts, a podcast. We are covering Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Act 3, Scenes 3 through 5. Elizabeth is with us.
Hi everyone.
And we have actually a couple of shout-outs to get to first before
Yay!
We get into scenes 3 through 5. It's been a while since we've had a shout-out, but I'm happy to get back to some of the comments. Both of these comments, by the way, came from Act 2, Scene 20, and Act 3, Scenes 1 to 2. So literally just the last episode. But Nola Girl comments, should Cursed Child be read as a sequel or a what-if companion book? I feel like most people would read it as a sequel, but then complain that it's not a good sequel. Great question. I think, personally, it works better as a companion what-if type of scenario.
Agreed.
While I am very excited to read anything there is on the Wizarding World, I think for Harry Potter purists, the first 7 books are very sacred.
Yeah.
And I like what if scenarios. We've done them throughout the podcast at various points throughout the books. And, you know, I've been a big fan of Marvel's What If, and, you know, DC's got their own Elseworld stuff going on. I love that stuff because I like to play around in the universes that I'm such a big fan of. That being said, this is technically supposed to be same world, same universe, same general timeline. I know we're messing with timelines here, but this is supposed to be canonically a sequel.
Well, it's so hard because it's like, it's supposed to be the same characters. When you use the same names and you reference historical things from the original sacred series, if you will, like, you're automatically going to associate it as being part of the series. And that's when, they get into trouble with book purists like myself, who is like, no, that's wrong. That's not how that works. That's not what the character would do. I hate it. And I do think if you read it more as a what if, it makes it easier to stomach, which sounds really bad, but it's just easier for you to process that these are not exactly the same characters. And I guess with the time travel, it does make it easier because you're right, like the characters change with every change that they make in the past.
I always view this book as a what if side companion material to our original 7 books. Honestly, though, if I'm being 100% truthful, I think it could work as a sequel with a couple of changes. And we've mentioned a couple of them already. The Trolley Witch I thought was an odd choice.
I think we all think it probably was just an odd choice.
If you want to make the Trolley Witch some sentient guard of the Hogwarts Express, I will buy that even, but you make her less demonic.
And maybe not a witch. Make her some other kind of magical entity.
Maybe.
You know?
It was just an odd choice to do with that kind of character setup. But, I mean, there's some things like that I'm like, I don't know if I love that. But I think, as we've talked about it, the character of Scorpius really jumps out as a big positive.
Yeah.
Learning more about Scorpius. So I'm like, there is a story to tell with Albus and Scorpius' time at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the story to tell, but
I like the idea of the second generation of children, because you're right, like Scorpius is super cool. Seeing Harry's children at Hogwarts is an interesting what if. I don't love how much it ties in our golden trio plus Draco, I think, because I think that's when you're automatically going to connect it to the Harry that we've known as a teenager. And it doesn't always compute as like, why would Harry do this? The Harry we know would never do that. And it's missing the fact that, well, obviously years have passed. So maybe if it was more separated from the adults and it was just the story of the kids and their adventures, maybe I'd enjoy that more.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to ask you is, would it be better or worse to have connections with the original
I like
characters?
the idea of the adults dropping them off at the Hogwarts Express and then it being like, okay, that's your frame of reference for who these people are. And now it's no longer Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. It is the Cursed Child.
So you would rather cut out the snippets of insights to Harry and Hermione and Draco's life?
I could see that, like, their vacations, like we check in a little bit with them kind of a thing. But I want to see more adventures of Hogwarts where it's not necessarily Harry's experiences of Hogwarts. I think because Harry, like, I mean, every year was an event, right? Because you had to make a book out of it. But it's also because Harry had the whole prophecy and yada, yada, yada. But it'd be interesting to see Hogwarts from a supposedly normal perspective and then still see how it's so magical.
In some ways, I think it's similar to what Star Wars went through with their sequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. So you have the prequel, the original trilogy, and the sequel trilogy. And I think this is similar to what Star Wars is experiencing, where people are like, okay, you're moving on from our original characters, but also you're kind of not moving on from our original characters.
Right, you still reference them a lot.
You're kind of stuck in between.
Yeah.
And, some people wanted them to just go way in the future and be like, hey, our Luke Skywalkers of the world are past heroes.
Right.
But not currently active.
Right.
Or just stick with the main group.
Right.
Pick one or the other. This is a little trickier because you're literally dealing with the kids of our main characters. So, it's
But I think
tricky.
it'd be interesting, too, to just see a typical child at Hogwarts who isn't necessarily a Malfoy or a Potter. Just here's a person at Hogwarts and, this is what their life is like in the magical school.
It would be interesting if you set this like 50, 60 years in the future, and Harry Potter might not be around anymore. Mm-hmm. And he is a legend in, books and stuff like that.
Do you think Professor Binns teaches about Harry Potter?
He should. We'll get into it, but there is a mention about, obviously the Battle of Hogwarts is a major historical event.
Yeah. I wonder how often he updates his curriculum.
Well, I mean, there is periods of magical history, so I wonder if his history is like whenever he died. I don't know.
But that would be fun.
Thank you, Nola Girl, for the comment. Obviously, that got us on a big sidetrack. The next comment is from AV. AV says that I've never seen Cursed Child, the play, only listened to it. As you have been going through it, I am having the same thought as I originally had when I heard it. And that thought is, the whole time travel is very confusing, awkward, and just doesn't pique my interest like the Harry Potter books themselves did. In my opinion, J.K. was smart. She introduced the concept, which feeds to our fascination of this magical world, but had a way of keeping it under control. Does anyone else feel the same way? Thanks. To me, AV's comment reminds me a little bit about what you, Elizabeth, have been saying, specifically about the time travel bit.
AV, I 100% agree with you. I think J.K. Rowling did it well, and probably out of all the time travel type stuff that I've ever read or seen, probably one of my favorite. And I do think it is because it's such a short amount of time that has traveled. It keeps it so tightly knit and like full circle, and it makes sense and it works. I think when you go years into the past, as we've seen, you do one little change thinking nothing can happen, and it creates such ripples that the whole world explodes. And it always makes me feel really uncomfortable and awkward, as fun as it is to see what the different world would be like. It just makes me be like, go back to what was. You ruined it. You can't fix it. What are you doing? And I hate it. And like, just stop. It makes me cringe. So I agree. I think it's like, it has its fun moments. It is very fun to play what if with time travel, but I think book 3 did such a good job with it. And I always liked with the Harry Potter series how part of the magic of it was that it left so much to the reader's imagination, and having the open-ended ending of the series, I always thought that was a really nice thing for the readers. Like, I didn't have to know absolutely everything that was going to come next.
As I said in the first comment, give me all the content. I want to dive headfirst into this world of Harry Potter, so give me all of it. So, I mean, that we differ on. Mm-hmm. The only counterpoint I would have to what you just said is I really enjoy the alternate realities, and I think screwing up those alternate timelines, making one small change in the past and it having really adverse effects that just spiral out of control. As a reader, I find myself more intrigued and more excited and more on the edge of my seat. I take it more as an excited anxiety of like, oh my goodness, they've really messed this up. How are they going to fix it? Mm-hmm. And there's, I feel like, real value in that narrative. Not everybody might view that. Clearly we don't view it the same way. But I think there is value in that narrative storytelling of being like, oh man, they really messed this up. I don't know how they're going to fix it. How are they going to fix it? And then you keep turning the page, or you keep watching and you might go, oh my gosh, how could this get worse? This can't possibly. And then it does. And you're like, oh my gosh. And it sucks you in a little bit. So I don't mind it as much. My issue, to you and AV's point, is I don't know that I fully buy the reasoning for all of this time travel shenanigans.
Yes, agreed.
That's my only thing. That it all happens and what happens within that, I'm okay with. It's just, I don't know that I 100% buy the reasoning to kick it all off in the first place.
I do think it is the smartest writing choice to make is to mess it up as much as possible, because you want to see your heroes suffer, because the greatest joy out of watching the hero suffer is watching them overcome it and grow as a character. That's how growth happens. I do think if the reasoning behind why they were going to time travel was more believable and clear and it made sense, I could buy in more, but it's pretty, the writing there is flawed.
I think maybe they rushed through the why just to get to the whole experience that is the time travel. Because I think the time travel stuff is the most...
It's the most action-packed.
Oddly, I think it's the most interesting part of both this book and the actual stage play, because it's so visually captivating, and the stuff that happens in it is like, wow, this is actually really cool to see. Yeah, they might have rushed through hey, let's get through this part so we can like really spend some time here. Yeah, so again, thank you again to Nola Girl and AV for the comments. We always enjoy interacting with our listeners. So if you have a comment or you have thoughts on Cursed Child, or any of the Harry Potter books, that's fine too. Or the movies, or Fantastic Beasts, whatever. We've seen it and we've read it all. So let us know by leaving a comment on either Spotify, where you're listening to this episode, or on our socials at Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You can find all of our socials at Hogwarts a Pod. You can also participate in the polls on Spotify as well by scrolling down on our episode, and the poll will be there. We like seeing those results as well. We do have some character development going on in these scenes that we're covering, and we're starting with Act 3, Scene 3. We're at the Ministry of Magic, and we're in the office of the head of magical law enforcement, which is not Harry Potter. He is dead in this timeline.
Yep.
The head of magical law enforcement in this timeline is one Draco Malfoy.
It's interesting that Draco has the job that Harry would have in a different timeline. Does as much as like the two characters always saw each other as rivals, it's like maybe we're more similar than you thought.
Yeah, I think it's specifically drawing parallels between Draco and Harry, and we've talked before about how I think Draco's biggest problem with Harry through the years is this idea that Harry is so amazing and so great, and Draco's like, I'm just as good. I think I'm just as good, just as smart, just as talented as you. Why are you getting all the shine? Mm-hmm. But it's interesting that Draco in this world would just slide right into the Harry Potter role, at least professionally. Mm-hmm. So Draco welcomes Scorpius with a presence that we haven't seen from him before. So says the narrator.
Yeah.
This is a Draco that has a smell of power about him. And he immediately comes in on the aggressive by scolding Scorpius for being late and for being unapologetic that he's late. And then he yells at Scorpius for embarrassing him at Hogwarts, embarrassing the family at Hogwarts, for keeping him waiting. And you, by the way, have still not apologized for all of this.
Also, you better call me sir, because that's what my child does.
Yep. Scorpius realizes that Draco is the head of magical law enforcement, that him and Harry have switched spots, and immediately starts asking him questions about everything that's going on. He asks him questions about the bridge attack that 3 wizards blew up to see how many muggles can be killed with one blast. Mm-hmm. He asks him about Harry Potter repeatedly. And Draco's like, okay, first of all, you've got to be kidding me. I don't want any questions about Harry Potter. Why are you so enthralled by Harry Potter?
Yeah, he said he was
Makes no
like
sense.
humiliating him at Hogwarts by asking about Harry Potter, and it was such a disgrace to the Malfoy name.
Mm-hmm. Scorpius pushes pretty far on the blowing up the bridge storyline. Mm-hmm. And by pushing further, I mean, he really pushes Draco here. He says, are you also behind the death camps, the torture, the burning, the murder? Mm-hmm. And Draco's a little taken aback by this. And Scorpius finishes it with, Mom always said you were a better man than I could see. But is this who you really are? And I think that hits Draco the most. The line about the mother, Scorpius's mother.
Well, he reacts with violence. He pulls Scorpius hard to the table, and he says, do not use your mother's name in vain to score points against me. Like, that is a visceral reaction.
It's an aggressive reaction. Mm-hmm. Draco eventually lets go of a very scared Scorpius's head. And the narration is also interesting with this. The narrator says Draco doesn't like hurting his son.
I think for part of it, it took Draco by surprise. And I think invoking his mother's name was something that stirred emotion in Draco that maybe he has kept dormant for a while. Because it was almost like, you know, being reminded of your humanity. Like, Mom said you were a better man than this, but I don't see it. And it's like, oh, maybe I have let myself go too far down the dark side of the Force to really recognize myself anymore.
After Draco releases Scorpius, he informs Scorpius that, look, it wasn't me that gave the okay to blow up the bridges, but it is me who has to then bribe the Muggle Prime Minister per the augury.
Yeah, this mention of the augury again. There was that, and they said that his office had flags with the augury symbol on it, that bird. We don't really know much about augury, but it's interesting that the augury would want him to bribe the Muggle Prime Minister.
It is interesting to me. That definitely popped out as a big question mark for me.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, how important is this augury? Who is it? And why did they get established into that
Your
position?
questions are about the augury. Mine is, this regime is bribing a Muggle?
Well, I wonder if it's more Draco thinking that's the right thing to do versus being told to do it.
I don't know. So this is an interesting thought to me. Why would a Voldy-run government do anything for a Muggle? Wouldn't they just let it ride? And the idea of bribing, I'm assuming you're bribing the Prime Minister to then have the Prime Minister cover up the bridge explosion as something like maybe a faulty exam and the bridge collapsed or whatever.
Gas leak or, yeah.
Sure. So that would almost indicate to me that this regime is not ready to really fully go to war.
Because there's still, like, the secrecy doctrine or whatever it was.
I don't know if that's how binding that is, if there's, like, a real magical punishment for that, or if they're genuinely not at a number that they feel comfortable with in reference to maybe, like, followers, that they think they can win a war, a full-out, all-out war against Muggles.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, again, we're talking a Voldy-run government is only the UK. There are only so many witches and wizards in the UK. So maybe they're just not prepared yet for a war with Muggles, and they're still building to that. It's just odd that they would placate a Muggle, is all I'm saying.
It's even interesting that there's still a Ministry of Magic. I mean, how much power does the Ministry still have if Voldemort is now in control? Which, again, is why I question more about the augury. Like, what position is this, and why was it even needed? Who is it? And
where is Voldy in this government?
Yeah, I mean, we always suspected.
Is he still at Draco's house? Just
took over Malfoy Manor.
Is he, like, still bumming on the couch? He was never on the couch. Let's be real.
He's like, this place suits me.
I've done well here. I will stay here.
I don't know. I mean, he certainly wouldn't have moved into a Gaunt shack. Like, I don't know where Voldemort would be. His Horcruxes are all either gone or have been protected still. He doesn't have to worry about Harry or Dumbledore. I guess he could go wherever he wants, but...
Back to Albania. He's just chilling in the woods.
He's on vacation with Nagini.
I guess. No, it was just an interesting line about bribing the Muggle Prime Minister that I was just like, that's odd to me.
It is odd. It is odd that you would still want to put on that facade.
So Scorpius continues on with the whole, hey, my mom said storyline, because he's obviously hit a nerve with Draco, so he feels like he can, I guess, pressure it a little bit more.
Well, enough of a nerve where Draco was like, did she really say that about me?
It's definitely hit Draco in a way that Scorpius feels comfortable continuing along those lines. So he says that Lucius didn't like his mother very much, but Draco defied him for her. And apparently, Scorpius' mom said to him that was the bravest thing she'd ever seen.
Yeah. Lucius didn't like her because she liked Muggles too much. Which it is brave for Draco to defy Lucius like that. I mean, well,
especially this version of Lucius that might have rebounded after the Battle of Hogwarts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in general, like, standing up to your parent, it takes a certain amount of strength and bravery, especially if it's somebody who has been abusive or neglectful or... I mean, God, it's because of Lucius's actions that Draco was ever supposed to go after Dumbledore. Like, what trauma this child has that he's now grown up with.
It's an interesting thought in this world where Lucius Malfoy shook out after the Battle of Hogwarts, because he was obviously not in great shape going into the Battle of Hogwarts. But coming out of it, if Draco was a loyal servant to Voldy and carried out those actions to the best of his ability, then maybe Lucius's salvation was actually through his son. It seems Lucius does have some semblance of standing, whether amongst Death Eaters, in Voldy's inner circle, or at least in the tight-knit Malfoy family of Draco, Narcissa, and Lucius. He holds some, at least, status still. Scorpius continues with, I have done bad things. You've done worse things. What have we become? And Draco says kind of a cryptic, vague line of, "We are as we are." It's an interesting line because ultimately, I think Draco is a survivor. Mm-hmm. Hey, look, do what you got to do to get to tomorrow. And yeah, some of those things that you got to do might not be the best things, but it'll get me to tomorrow.
Well, I like the context Scorpius adds in. He says, the Malfoys, the family you can always rely on to make the world a murkier place. And that just seems to really hit Draco, just like, ugh, right in the feels. Like, yeah, we always do seem to do things in the world that don't necessarily make it better.
Well, Draco says, what exactly has inspired all of this?
Which is a fair question.
Because you seem very different. And Scorpius says, I've seen myself in a different way. And Draco responds with, well, your mother always made my world seem less, what was the word you used? Murky.
Mm-hmm. He said she helped him find the light in the darkness, which I think is sweet.
And then Draco looks at Scorpius and says, maybe there's more of her in there than I originally thought. Whatever you're doing, do it safely. I can't lose you too. For Voldy and Valor.
Yeah, I find it interesting that both the Draco of this timeline and the Draco of the original timeline clearly struggle with speaking directly to Scorpius. The one in the original timeline was like, I can't talk to him because he's so different from me, and sometimes I question if he's even my son, because how did this kid come after me and after my father of Lucius? This Draco seems to be like, okay, I see something is wrong here. I should probably talk to him a little bit more, but he's also hesitant about pushing Scorpius too much. In this case, for the fear of losing him too, which it's interesting that both Dracos can be connected by that fear.
It's interesting that we get two versions of Draco here. We're introduced to him as a very cold, very aggressive individual. Mm-hmm. When he addresses Scorpius the way he does, when he treats him the way he does, and then when he physically accosts him the way he does.
Yeah.
We get a very sharp image of Draco, and we're like, ooh, who is this Draco? We just get the narration of there's a power about him, mm-hmm. which is something we haven't seen before. The narrator says that we haven't seen this before in Draco. Mm-hmm. So we're set to believe Draco is a force in this world, and he is not to be trifled with, he's not to be messed with, right?
Right.
It sets you up as a very aggressive, intense portrait. And then by the end of this scene, we see him soften tremendously.
Yeah, there's emotional core in him that maybe got pushed deep, deep, deep down. Probably for survival. If you're living in the world of Voldemort, you have to do that for survival.
I'm sure that's a huge part of it. Environmental, circumstances certainly have a lot to do with how you have to portray yourself and how you have to carry yourself. I think it's interesting how that we see Draco soften from mentions of obviously Draco's wife, mm-hmm. but also the accusations of torture and murder.
Right. It goes back to his inability to kill Dumbledore. He's just not a killer.
It's just interesting to see the duality of Draco Malfoy in one compact scene. Mm-hmm. Where he starts so aggressively and ends so softly with his caring nature of his son, and just this idea of, I don't know what you're up to. You're going down some dangerous roads. Be careful, because I can't lose you.
I think it shows the power of Scorpius as a character. The original timeline, Scorpius has empathy, and to a very deep level, he has emotional intelligence that few characters seem to have. And he knows how to say the thing that just cuts straight to the point and makes the other character reflect and realize what he sees in them and think like, do I like that version of myself? Do I not? The emotional intelligence with Scorpius is fantastic. He should be the therapist of the Wizarding world. I nominate him.
We will pause it here, and we will take a little break, and we will be back with scenes 4 and 5 after that. Before we get to our break sound, I'd like to acknowledge our friend Andy, who helps us produce our intros and our break sounds. If you want to hear more of Andy's work and like Formula One racing, check out the Outlap F1 podcast. It's your one-stop shop for Formula One news, insights, race previews, and reviews. You can find them wherever you listen to podcasts, and they even have a YouTube page. So check out Andy, Cody, John, James, and Deanna, and join them on the Outlap.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana.
I love magic.
All right, so we are back with Act 3, Scene 4, and we are in the Hogwarts Library. Scorpius is entering the library looking for some history books, specifically looking for details on specific events, like how Harry specifically died, who might have killed him, and how Cedric Diggory became a Death Eater.
Dun dun dun.
Cedric Diggory, a Death Eater. What?
Yeah, side note, like, that hasn't been mentioned really yet. Before, like, reading this, I feel like I remember it being more clear when watching the play that Cedric had become a Death Eater. And now reading it, I'm like, where did this come from? Where did he even get this information that Cedric is a Death Eater?
This is so casually dropped.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I just found it out somehow.
And it wounds my soul.
I don't know where it came from.
However, if we're playing around with the idea of Cedric being a Death Eater, it's the same argument I would make for him being a member of the Order of the Phoenix. He could potentially be a very potent member.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
He's very gifted, he's very
strong.
talented. And obviously, I think they're pointing at the turn being his humiliation in the Triwizard Tournament. So he's turned that humiliation into this...
like, anger that brought him to the dark side.
Yeah, kind of this anger and frustration and an, oh, you don't think I can do X, Y, and Z. Let me show you.
Well, it makes sense, too, when you think that you are purposely being humiliated in front of the school. Yeah, I'd be mad, too. I don't know if I'd be mad enough to become a Death Eater, but I'd be mad.
I mean, we don't know how his life really changed from this Triwizard Tournament experience. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're thought of as like the golden child, where you're good at everything and you are the best thing ever, mm-hmm. and then that fall from grace was probably swift and hard.
Well, we've seen how, like, the whole school treats Harry when it's, like, one day he's the hero that won the Quidditch match or whatever, and then the next day he's shunned by everyone because he said something stupid in Snape's class and lost, like, 300 points.
We know how Voldy works. Voldy recruits those who feel like they have nowhere else to go, mm-hmm. and he welcomes the tossed away.
Yeah.
And he vows to make something of you, and I think he would go after Cedric hard, given the talents there. This would be our first example of a Hufflepuff Death Eater. Like, I'm assuming that's, like, full-on dark mark and everything.
Yeah. Do you think Amos just, like, shunned his son after all the humiliations from it?
I could see it.
Because he did hold him in such high regard, and to see him fail so spectacularly or be messed with in such extreme ways and then react so poorly to it, I could see him being like, well, you're no son of mine, which would be so sad because the Amos of the original timeline, you know, thought Cedric gleamed gold. Like, he's this golden boy who can do anything.
Or do you think it's just one of those situations where, look, Voldy is the new ruler, he's the new king, mm-hmm. He's got control of the ministry. If you wanted to be an Auror, maybe the new Auror is Death Eater.
Hail
like
to
maybe
the king.
maybe that's the new job description. Is,
Maybe.
you know, you want to be a dark wizard catcher. Well, now you're like the Dumbledore's army catcher. Like, you know, you're the opposite of it. So maybe Draco is literally running the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, and it's not orders underneath them, it's Death Eaters underneath them.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Since we're doing a whole, like, world swap.
It does make me wonder how he found out that Cedric even is a Death Eater, especially now that he's looking through history books to find out how he became one. Like, did you see him stationed at Hogwarts? In which case, why didn't we see that scene? I think that would have been so cool to have seen that scene. So jarring. Certainly it would make me very anxious and be like, no! But it would still be fun to see.
So, we get Craig Bowker Jr., who enters the library and asks why Scorpius is here. And Scorpius is like, what, I'm not allowed in the library? Like, what are you talking about? And Craig is like, hey, look, I haven't been able to finish your potions homework yet. It's not ready. Look, it's really hard to fool Snape, okay? I have to do, like, 2 different versions of this writing. Like, he assigns really long work. Like, it is really hard to fool this guy. I'm sorry I don't have it ready yet.
I love the fact that this kid is smart enough to even realize that the 2 versions of the essays have to be different enough from each other to avoid detection.
Well, clearly you write Scorpius's first, and then you just write a different version for yourself. But Scorpius stares at Craig blankly, doesn't say a word.
He just seems to be like, I don't know what is going on.
Leaves the stage. Mm-hmm. Then a few moments later, returns to the stage and to himself, which we know is to the audience. Did he say Snape? And then walks off.
I love that moment.
It's a great moment in the play. It is great.
Yes.
And then you're also left to that thought of like, oh wait,
there's a way out. There's something
Severus
here.
Snape is
there's
still alive
still
here.
Hope. The idea that there's still hope in this world that is so bleak and horrible.
Well, maybe Scorpius thinks there's hope. You don't necessarily know. And
it's
he
at
doesn't
least
either.
worth going to check out.
You don't know where Snape shook out in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's still the potions master at Hogwarts, so he's still somewhat involved. Mm-hmm. But that's a cool way to end the scene. I think of all the little mini scenes that we get, and look, I love the Hogwarts staircases.
I was just about to say.
I love the Hogwarts staircases. I do. I really, really do. But I think of all the little mini scenes that we get that are all like quick hitting 1 or 2 page scenes. I think this might be the best one.
Well, especially because you have such a shock in this world being like, you know, Umbridge is the headmistress and Voldemort won and Harry Potter is dead.
Cedric's a Death Eater.
You're so focused on all those negative, horrible things that you forget that the sad or, you know, tragic things of the original series, the original timeline, wouldn't necessarily still be the same. So hearing that Severus is still alive, you're like, oh, that's cool. We can go see what he's like in this world, and maybe he can help us. That's really fun.
So we move to Act 3, Scene 5, Hogwarts, in the potions classroom. Scorpius runs into the room, and Snape immediately looks at him. Snape chastises him for not knocking, which is fair. Scorpius says, it is an absolute honor. And Snape is essentially like, get to the point or get out, please. Scorpius gets right to the point, as Snape wants. Are you still working for Dumbledore undercover? Or like what exactly is your status? Are you still a spy? And Snape is like, I'm sorry, Dumbledore is dead, and my work for him is quite public. I taught for him. Mm-hmm. And Scorpius pushes further, talking about the scripted death of Dumbledore. Snape, appropriately, threatens punishment for such accusations, because he's like, I'm sorry, what are you even talking about? What you're talking about is pure treason right now.
Again, Scorpius is so good of just cutting straight to the point and hitting people in emotional ways that they're not expecting, so it takes them off guard.
He's also pointing to very specific circumstances that only 1 or 2 people might be fully aware of.
Right.
And this is the one person that would be aware of it. Mm-hmm. However, I will say this about Scorpius. You're pointing to very specific scenarios. how confident are you that those scenarios actually took place
Right,
in this
timeline?
world?
Right.
I'm assuming that was part of the research he was trying to do, is like, wait, how did Dumbledore die exactly? Oh, he was killed on top of the astronomy tower by Severus Snape. Great. I could use that.
He's also very bold to just come out and say this, because for all he knows, Snape might not be who he's hoping him to be, in which case you saying these things is very dangerous.
It's very dangerous. So Scorpius ends up revealing the Time Turner plot to save Cedric Diggory. He says that Cedric was humiliated out of the tournament and he became a Death Eater, but he's unclear of how Cedric actually participated in the Battle of Hogwarts. Snape fills us in on that little detail. Mm-hmm. Snape informs us that Cedric Diggory only killed one relatively insignificant wizard during the Battle of Hogwarts. That insignificant wizard was Neville Longbottom.
If only he knew.
Well, to be fair, Neville really rose to prominence
In book 7.
during the lead up to the Battle of Hogwarts and during the Battle of Hogwarts. Mm-hmm. His, hero moment was during the Battle of Hogwarts. So if he never had that hero moment, Snape could go down thinking, you're just Neville Longbottom.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite the bombshell that Snape just drops here of Cedric participating in the Battle of Hogwarts and killing Neville Longbottom. I think that is a massive bombshell that is dropped in this. And I think for those that hadn't read this and saw the play, or hadn't seen the play and read this, were like, oh my. that is crazy.
It's one of the things I do actually love about the time travel stories, of how one tiny little change makes huge ripples. Because we know without Neville, then Nagini doesn't get killed, which means the Horcrux survives. Voldemort can't die. He wins. That's why this world is the way that it is.
Obviously, the Snape that Scorpius is talking to doesn't know that reality. So Scorpius excitedly tells the actual events of what had happened at the Battle of Hogwarts with Neville killing Nagini. Snape, shockingly not a believer, threatens to contact his father. Your father will hear about this. Thank you. Thank you.
Do you think he was sitting on that for years? Of just one day, the number of times I heard Draco say that, I can't wait to use it on him.
Yep. Well, after the threat to contact Scorpius's father, Scorpius just pushes his chips all in. He just throws caution to the wind and pulls out the Lily card. Mm-hmm. And obviously, Snape is stunned and overwhelmed to hear, 1, Lily's name from Scorpius Malfoy, probably.
Right, because why would he know it?
And 2, to be called out so aggressively for his somewhat secret love of Lily that would have never gotten out from the way that this all played out.
I mean, the only person who knew about it was Dumbledore, and Dumbledore was killed. So there should be no one alive to know this, especially some kid.
Right. So Snape is, again, stunned, overwhelmed. He says, look, Harry Potter is dead. And Scorpius informs Snape that in this other world, Harry is not only alive, but actually thought so much of you and so much of what you did for the cause that he named his son Albus Severus.
And called him the bravest man he'd ever met.
Snape is deeply moved by this, which I want to get back to. And Scorpius says, for Lily, for the world, help me. Mm-hmm. What do we think about Snape being deeply moved?
I can't even imagine the emotion running through him at this moment. For this, it's a little bit like how Harry was hating Snape for the 6th year, through the 7th year, of just thinking that Snape betrayed Dumbledore, Snape betrayed everyone, we trusted him and stuff. And for Snape to hear that in another timeline, the boy that he protected for the love of his life is alive and thinks highly of him, even though he knows their history of how he bullied him in class and he knows how he treated him, to hear that he was forgiven. I think hearing that someone forgives you is enough to make anyone break down and to tears. It's such a powerful thing to hear, and for him to hear that and really be affirmed that, like, oh, in another timeline, we succeeded. I succeeded. Like, he was protected. Like,
all my sacrifice.
It was worth it.
Was worth it.
Yeah.
Where in this timeline, all of his sacrifices were fruitless.
Yeah.
It didn't ultimately work.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting how this conversation plays out with Snape, because the idea of him being deeply moved, I think what that line does is it basically extends a hand to everybody who loves the character of Severus Snape.
Yeah.
Because it gives them closure.
Yeah.
And it lets them in on what Snape might have felt if he survived. So I think it gives a lot of closure to a lot of the Severus Snape supporters. It almost reads to me a little bit like a fan fiction, little bit, where you're trying to like wrap up a loose end that was just kind of out there of like, hey, what if Snape was aware of Harry's admiration of him and stuff like that. I like the line personally, and I like the acknowledgement of it. And I think, as you pointed to, Snape's relationship with Harry Potter is a complicated one. And yes, he tormented him for a lot of reasons, some of which are valid.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of past grudge stuff going on there.
And Harry didn't always give him the easiest of times.
And some of it was Harry's own antagonistic approach to their relationship at times. So, I mean, Snape has a lot of complicated feelings, and he just got called out for Lily. He just got a glimpse of what the world could have been.
Yeah. Now
he's getting this info that Harry Potter thought enough of him and his sacrifice to name his son after him.
I also think hearing that Harry valued Snape enough to put his name with Dumbledore's name is also very powerful. Because, I mean, Snape obviously also looked up to Dumbledore, and he was able to put his whole life to the side to be spy for him.
Yeah.
So to hear, like, you honor me as much as you honor Dumbledore, that's very powerful.
Well, and again, that goes all the way back to Albus Severus Potter. You're named for Albus Dumbledore, Severus Snape, and Harry Potter.
Right.
Like,
it's a big name to
as
carry.
Dumbledore said in the portrait when we saw him briefly, of like, you really laid it on this kid. Like, you put this kid under a lot. I don't know if you should have named your kid after me. Like, that's a lot of pressure.
I do really like this scene. I do like seeing Snape be moved, hear about the other timeline, and hearing enough information to know that Scorpius is telling the truth.
Yeah, it's a really powerful conversation between Scorpius and Severus Snape. And again, Snape, just like we said about Draco in part 1 here, Draco has known this world's version of Scorpius his entire life. Severus has known this version of Scorpius probably his entire life. I don't know what the relationship between Severus and Draco is in this world, because it was tenuous at best at different
Especially in
points.
book 6.
Especially later on in the books. It got very tense. So I don't know where their relationship shakes out, but maybe they've been close, maybe they haven't. But either way, Severus is aware that Scorpius is a certain kind of human being in this world. And now you're coming at him with Lily Potter and Harry Potter 1. And like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So it must be a foundationally shaking moment for Snape.
I wonder if Snape also did acclimancy.
I'm sure he attempted
to be
it,
like, okay, are you actually also telling the truth? Because
sure.
if you're feeding me information hoping to just catch me on something.
Do you realize how hard it is to really stun Severus Snape?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's worked with Dumbledore and Voldy as spies. He's seen some stuff.
He's taught. He's seen some stuff.
To be genuinely surprised and overwhelmed is an achievement. Okay?
Which again shows the power of Scorpius. This kid he's good.
Snape ends up walking towards Scorpius, pulling out his wand. Something you generally don't want to see.
Yeah.
From Scorpius's point of view. But a door opens at the back of the classroom, and Snape says that this will take us to a room in the roots of the Whomping Willow. We've tried to set up locations before, but we've always been found out and we've always had to move them quite quickly. Scorpius is like, I'm sorry, who's we? And Snape just goes, you'll see. Very mysterious from Snape all of a sudden.
Yeah, he's a man of mystery suddenly.
Yeah. It's interesting. This room in the roots of the Whomping Willow, are we talking about just the hidden passageway? Is this the Shrieking Shack?
I'm assuming the shack.
You're thinking it's the Shrieking Shack?
Yeah.
Which would have to scout this out, though, right?
I mean, you would think, but I suppose if they have to keep moving around, maybe it's a thing.
It's just odd that it's written to a room in the roots of the Whomping Willow.
What I think is interesting is that this place that they're going to is the place that Snape died in the original timeline.
Which I'm sure Scorpius will just love.
I'm sure he'd be like, whoa, you died right here. Oh, oops. So make it awkward because he likes to do that too.
That would be something that Scorpius would certainly point out. A lot of stuff has happened in this room, actually. We found Peter Pettigrew in this room. Mm-hmm. And then, yes, that time you died.
Uh-huh.
Yep. I think these are quite a few really good scenes.
Agreed.
Where you get a lot of depth on Scorpius and Draco and Snape, and they're small scenes. None of them are particularly long scenes.
And they're not necessarily action-packed, but I think they captured my attention more than some of the action-packed scenes actually did.
These are the exact scenes that I was talking about at the beginning of our episode, where I want the content. I want to see as much of the wizarding world as possible, even if it's a different variation of what I'm used to. And this is quite literally that. It's a different timeline. It's a different alternate reality.
Right.
Set within the wizarding world.
And in these cases, the scenes work because you are building into the character everything that the audience would know from the original series. So we know everything about Snape. We know what his dynamic with Harry was like. We saw it firsthand. And having that as the foundational background then does allow the writers to play the what if, I think, more effectively. But it is fun to see.
Hey, look. Give me more Scorpius. Give me more Draco. Give me more Snape. I am all for it. I am also all for reading your comments. So please send them our way by commenting on Spotify, commenting on Blue Sky, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you want to find us. You can find us on all of our socials at Hogwarts a Pod. Participate in those polls that we have on the episodes on Spotify, or if you see them on Instagram or Twitter, check them out there too. We will be back very soon with another episode. Thank you for listening. We'll be back. Thank you for listening to Hogwarts, a podcast. If you like what you've heard, please click the subscribe button on your preferred podcasting app and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Hogwarts a Pod.